Hi, everybody. This is Karen here.
This is Mae.
And we're from
Boomers to Gen Z.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about finding, trying to figure out whether the person that you are dating is ready for a commitment, or if you've been dating for 3 years or 5 years, what is your next step? So don't go away.
Okay, so Karen, picture this. You have pictured, because I know that you are very in love and married for very long. So
it's a good thing.
Let's say you've been in a relationship for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you are in your late 20s.
Okay.
How would you confront the topic of where is this going? Is that ever a question that comes to mind?
I think that's depending on the character of that person. So for me, I would probably ask.
You would ask?
I would ask and I would say, hey, we've been together now for X number of years. And where are we heading? That kind of thing.
And what would the response usually be? Do you think it's a scary thing to confront? Or do you think that it's a question that is much needed normally at that?
But then that's my personal opinion, is that I want to know because I want to, if not, then I'll move on. Does that make sense?
It does. Do you think that for when you were dating and that whole generation, do you think that it was a question to be asked, or it's like a known thing that if we've been together this long, obviously it's going somewhere?
Oh, okay. I think that with the older generation, most women will not be so forward to ask.
So it's just assume that obviously we're going to get married.
And or just wait until they have been asked, which I don't know.
But what if you wait 7 years or 10 years?
Imagine you're in this really long relationship for 10 over years, and he doesn't ask, and you don't prompt, or you don't start to question, and then what if God forbid he says, well, I actually found somebody else, and it has happened.
Yeah, no, I think it's so. I think for my current generation, I think that I don't know if it's because the girls are a little bit more empowered.
Yeah, for sure.
Asking the question, and sometimes it could be on the girl. Sometimes the girl gets asked, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
I think it's a very fair question now, because especially in my generation, there's a lot of these open relationships.
Okay.
Where
please define open relationship.
So as what I know, an open relationship is when I am dating you, but we are not exclusive. So I can actually see other people, because we have this understanding of we're still getting to know ourselves, we're still getting to know what works.
So not exclusive.
So you could be dating multiple people, but maybe you're only physical with one.
Okay. I have to say, I don't know, maybe those who are in their 50s like me, I'm not too open to that. Although I consider myself quite a liberated person and quite open-minded, I'm not too sure about this open relationship. I've also heard about marriages who has the same thing, where they have that open relationship that they can date and be with someone else, but legally they are a married couple. Yeah. So that's another hot topic to talk about. I tell you, that's something that I haven't got my head wrapped around that idea yet. So even dating, I personally don't think. Yeah, I feel like if you're dating, you should be kind of exclusive with someone.
I actually do agree with that. I've never been in an open relationship. I don't know how to be. I think I get very invested, and then emotionally, I just can't take it. So what I've noticed is with my circle of friends is the question is not so much where is this going? It's more like, hey, I think I really like you. Can we be exclusive?
Oh, okay.
So actually there's this new layer in our dating world.
Right.
Not with the majority, but it does trend in certain communities, I guess. I don't know how it fits in Asia yet. But then there's also like what I see on TV, right? Like when I watch shows, like these high school little shows, it's always like, oh, can you be my girlfriend?
Right.
And I promise you, I've actually never been asked that question of can you be my girlfriend? It's always like a given. Like we've been spending so much time together already.
Right.
We're like 6 months in.
Yeah.
Like obviously I'm your girlfriend. Like,
Okay.
You know?
I'm just
Were you
trying to
ever
think.
asked?
I think so.
You were asked?
Yeah.
That's so
yeah,
nice.
Like, oh, can we be? Yeah. So it's like, oh, are we girlfriend and boyfriend now? Kind of. It's so cute those days when you think about it.
So then like I think that for me, at least in my experience, it's always been like, okay, we've been together now and I've been with my partner, we're going into our 4th year. And when we talk about things, it's more like, hey, like, are we in this for the long run? It's been a conversation that has come up.
Okay. So
We
you
do
guys
talk about it, and it's like, because there'll be subtle hints, right? Like when you're already in the
So you were saying that even in your relationship and you're not legally married, you are already at the point where you're sharing your expenses and there's some cross, like helping each other out kind of thing.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
okay,
like
that's really nice.
when we get to that stage, I think that that's when, for me personally, that's when the conversation came up of like, okay, so I guess we're gonna be together. Are we gonna get married? Are we? And then it's and then you have that conversation because you also want to understand if your partner kind of believes in marriage as the final union, or if you could just kind of be life partners.
Right.
Because I think that is a trend.
Yeah, I think that's
Like life
definitely
partners.
something that the new generation, that marriage is not always the end goal per se.
No.
I do know of lovely couples who don't have the legality of it, but they've been together forever and they
Yeah,
love
me
each
too.
other and all that, right? So, my take on the marriage is it's a personal choice, and it doesn't mean that the couple cannot work it out. You know what I mean?
So like there are some people who I was very interested. So like I met up with a cousin sister of late, and then she mentioned this thing called a soul contract, where one of her friends believed in something called soul contract. So like I am with you for the now, but if our contract finishes, we come to terms with that and we allow each other to fall in love again.
Oh, expand that further.
So it's as if like, okay, I could, like, for example, I could be having a soul contract with a gentleman now, but when that time finishes, as in like we're no longer interested in each other and we want to explore other people, let's say it's 15 years down the line,
right,
that is allowed. So it's like we don't have to be tied by marriage because we know that love doesn't have to be a forever thing. That's what they believe. That it's allowed to be different people at different phases of your life, because you should be allowed to explore yourself in different ways at different phases of your life. So I think it's a very like free.
It's too, but that gives you.
There's no consistency. There's no commitment. So love is not like a commitment to them. Love is, I love everyone, and I love it. I guess it's a very. I don't. Okay, I'm going to use the word hippie, but I'm not saying hippie in a bad way here. It's just different.
Different, very different. For me, I can't agree to that, because I feel like you need to have some commitment and work through it and get that relationship going, and you need to have some accountability.
I think so too. I think so. And like, if you want to talk about like phases of life, I think that one person is supposed to go with you through those phases of your life. It shouldn't be a change of person.
I think that's like copying out. Like when let's just say in a relationship, and then suddenly I get sick, and then he just decides, well, okay, I don't love her anymore because she's sick and she's not doing what I need her to do.
Yes.
Or me, and just walks out. But that's not a marriage, isn't it? That's not a real relationship.
Yeah.
Again, that's my opinion. That's how I see it.
So I think that like when it comes back to the topic of like to ask where is this going, I think that women should be encouraged to do more of it, because it's an okay question to ask. For the girls out there who are my age and you're kind of like worried that you're going to scare him off, like actually like take up the courage to ask the question like, hey, is this going somewhere? And like voice out where you want it to go so that you're not wasting time. And also the decision doesn't have to be the guy's decision to lead the relationship. Like you could also lead it because it's also your life. So if they were doing it back in the day, asking that question.
Well, not they. I think I was the one, because it's just nature, but I know of many who just kind of they don't take the rein or take the first step. They wait for the guy to ask everything. And I'm always been someone who feels that a woman doesn't have to wait for things to happen for them. I've always believed that a woman have choice, that we can decide whether we want to be, whether it's in a career or a relationship and all that, that we make conscious decisions, those decisions that make us happy. So, if you feel that if you have been in a relationship for maybe X number of years, if you've been in a relationship for many years, you are not happy, so do you stay on? So you want to ask that person and make that person have that relationship conversation about what he may be feeling, because maybe if you don't feel passionate or that you don't feel that the relationship is going anywhere, for all you know, he maybe feel the same but don't want to break it up. And then what do? You end up in a marriage that you're loveless and you're unhappy with each other.
So I know I'm not in a place to really give advice because one, I'm like super young, but this is our podcast and it's just fun. So I'm going to say it anyway. The way you structure that conversation, I think, is also very important. So if you're coming into that conversation and being very like, you're already blaming him and being like, oh, you just wasted my time.
Yeah.
Is it that don't do that? Like approach the conversation where in a more empowered way, like state what you want, state your expectations, listen to him, maybe apologize for the areas that you have faulted, see if there's area to align. And if there's no area to align, then like accept that pain and like let it go instead of staying in the familiar, knowing that it's just gonna hurt in the long run. Yeah. Because I've seen some girls like they can like really go at it at the man and just blame the man for everything.
Exactly. And that's not healthy in any shape or form, because the bottom line is it takes two to tango. And whether you like it or not, you in any relationship, whether it's a friendship or in a more intimate one, we got to own up to our role in that relationship as well, because it's not, relationship is very dynamic. You've got to have those conversations and think about that. And not every guy is to be blamed too, because it's a women and we got to own up to that as well, right? Yeah. So having those conversations are really important, and most importantly is to have honest conversation with yourself of what you want in the relationship and see whether that can be aligned. And in fairness, maybe your partner don't even know what you want.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
And that's something that I think, whether it's if you have that conversation where you tell your partner exactly what you want and share a common dream of how you want your marriage to be or your long-term relationship to be, there's no harm in that, to have that conversation and say, okay, maybe we can meet a compromise and meet halfway, that kind of thing. Because sometimes, especially with younger generations, right, there's this thing about you don't need to get married, but you can be in a long-term relationship. But have you ever thought that maybe your partner or the guy or lady that you're going out with maybe want something more and they feel more secure knowing that it's so is there a way that you can work together? Is there a way that you can compromise and say, yeah, I love you enough that I think we can commit together? So that's something to think about, especially all the young ladies and older ladies who may be walking into a new relationship.
Yes.
And to, have, most of all, is to be sure of what you want. You got to know what you want before you can really put yourself out there.
So I have a question for you. Where is this going? Are you following us or subscribing to us? Are you commenting below?
Yes.
This is all for entertainment purposes only, and stay tuned for next week.